All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the Awesemo.com Nhl Dfs strategy show. Took me a minute there to get myself live, but I think I am showing up at the correct place where you all are. So that is the good thing. We're going to go over the 5 games today, as Cliffy and I, or Josh and I, or Terry and I usually do, and we'll talk a little bit about last night. I've got lineup study pulled up. I know some people that have been longtime viewers of the show will be very, very excited about that. I'm going to paste this link into our premium Slack chat to make sure anybody who wants to watch live can do so. And then we'll pretty much get going. Last night was a pretty ugly slate. Detroit went nuts. I was actually over the field on Detroit won, and ended up not working out for me. We'll talk about someone who it did work out for. I mean, so Vrana, 4 goals. Like, that's going to ruin any slate. I don't really care what size it is. It was a 10-gamer. Once he got the hat trick, you were pretty much cooked if you didn't have him, which is fine. I had a bunch of Vrana. But I had a lot of like full Detroit ones. And so when the rest of the stack doesn't go off, it's a little bit difficult to get there. I did actually finish 3rd in the queue, which is like the worst possible spot to finish, behind 2 of the same players' lineups. So many of you know him, $1 million winner, Whistle Go Woo, or it's the Whistles Go Woo. So let's just get into that. We'll take a quick look at lineup study. He won everything. I think you guys can see it's not cutting off here. So this is lineup study for anyone that's not aware. You can get it with the FC Pro add-on. If you buy through us, you can obviously get that. It looks like, yeah, you guys can see that. So the Whistles Go Woo. Epic interview this guy had one time a few months ago. He won the NFL live final, I think, for like $2.5 million. I think on DK. So he won everything last night. I don't even know if this guy even plays NHL. I've seen him a couple times recently. But yeah, he won the high stakes. He won the MME tournament, and he had this lineup pretty much. Well, not this exact lineup, but I think he had variations of this lineup all over the place. Sebastian Aho, that's the Carolina Sebastian Aho. That is not the Islanders defenseman Sebastian Aho. So that's just a naming thing right there. But you can see McKinnon, Burakovsky, Makar in this winning lineup put up close to 200 points, which was very hard to come by last night, even with the 50-plus out of Vrana. So you had the Aho, Svechnikov, 2-man. You had the McKinnon, Burakovsky, Kale Makar, 3-man, and then Zadina, Vrana, 2-man. So left off Michael Rasmussen, who I think, he had like 5 or 6 points. He wasn't going to kill you. I think he was basically free. But, if you can get McKinnon, Burakovsky in, and a really good 2-man in Aho and Svechnikov, I think Carolina Aho had like 30 or 25 plus DK points. Saw a couple winning screenshots with Svechnikov in our premium Slack. So that was good to see. But yeah, the Whistles Go Woo with 4 O's. Took it down. Not only did he take down first, but he took down 3rd, 4th, 5th, 8th, 9th, 11th, 12th, 13th, and so on. So, I mean, just destroyed everything. Won the 20K. Got me in the queue. And so that was very sad. If I didn't have a ticket already, I would probably be very upset. But he had 2 lineups like that were much better than mine that finished in 3rd. So you see 1, 2. This one I think was a little bit different. He did have Rasmussen in this one. So Rasmussen, Vrana instead of Zadina, Vrana. And Aho, Svechnikov looks like he just went in on a core, or had a core group of lineups with like the same 4 to 6 forwards, and just built after that. I'll show you my lineup here. It was good for the forwards. It was very bad for the defensemen. Just Toronto won with Detroit won. Correlated with Hronik. 0 points in a 7-goal game for the Wings. Thomas Greiss was huge, 0.5% ownership. He was very low owned. Got the 35 save bonus. Obviously got the win. Gave up a goal late, but I think he got peppered late with some easy saves to get him well over the 35 save bonus. I think he had over 40 saves plus the win. That is what you like to see, as they say. Hedman only 4.5. He was a defenseman in a lot of my lineups, and obviously you see how that worked out. But like, it just goes to show, like, if the whistles go woo didn't decide to enter the queue or didn't play hockey, I think he's playing everything now. He wasn't even playing before, like a year ago is what I heard. If he doesn't decide to enter, all of a sudden I'm sitting here with the queue seat. So the margins are very thin when you're playing something like that. Just got to come out on the right side of variance. Almost cashed huge the other night, and then the Oilers decided to make it a game. Yeah, they've done that a couple times recently. McDavid just decided to go to another level that 99.9% of players do not really have. You could argue Matthews does, but McDavid just makes instant offense. Seemingly whenever he wants to. A couple times a game he gets going, and he makes it look like some of these NHL defenders are like me out there trying to defend him at times. So, yeah. No McDavid on this slate. No Matthews on this slate. No Colorado 1. So where do we go, right? Where do we go? I don't know. We're going to talk through it. I think it's a pretty tough slate tonight. So maybe I'll be leaning on you guys to teach me some stuff, give me some hot takes. I've got the lineup builder up here. If you guys want to follow along, this is the free version. So you just got the pricing. I'm on DraftKings pricing. You can also switch to FanDuel pricing if you like, but we'll go with DraftKings. I play on DraftKings more. But this is the free version. If you had the premium version, you would just log in to your account on Awesemo.com, click tools, lineup builder, NHL, and page would pop up, and you would have the ownership projection as well as the individual player projection as well as the stack projection. So I've got that up on my other screen over here to reference any ownership numbers or anything like that. Speaking of ownership, it is going to be free today for everyone. So if you guys want to check that out, NHL ownership projections free today, and a decent sized slate too. So we're not just giving it to you for the 2 and 3 game slates. You got a 5-gamer. Ownership is going to be very important tonight. And so I use these every day. I don't know why you wouldn't today if they're free. If you just want to take a look, you might disagree with some here and there, but they're getting better and better as the season goes on. And that is exactly what I love to see as a GPP player, because I rely on these very heavily. And I'm not sure if any other sites really offer NHL ownership projections. So I think this is one of our better tools. We've also got the top stacks, projections, all that stuff. Premium Slack. Someone, I can't remember who it was, messaged the Slack yesterday saying that was like the best tool. And I think, I think at times it can be, especially for like late news, just making sure you have guys that are playing. Not only do we have good content providers, we've got very good subscribers, sharp subscribers that are willing to share information and making sure that people don't take zeros, because that's very important to do. That is very important to do in NHL DFS. If you haven't taken many zeros this year, you're probably doing a lot better than 90% of the field, 80% of the field, whatever you want to call it. Alan, welcome to Awesemo.com. If you just joined on the YouTube channel, I see you've got the Awesemo badge there. It says, hey, all, took down 1, 2, 3 in the 5-hole on FanDuel out of 24K. That's really tough to do. 1, 2, and 3? Jeez. That's some domination. That's some really good ROI there over on FanDuel. Is that the 5 cent or the 10 cent on FanDuel? I think that's what it is. But congrats. That's really tough to do out of 24,000 entries, taking 1, 2, and 3. You don't often see that, I guess, unless your name is The Whistles Go Woo. Took first, fourth, and fifth in a small wrister, third in the $5 single entry, 11th in the $1 single, and first in most of the ticket contests. Thanks for putting me on the auto stack, and I went 100% Matt Murray. Wow. that's tough. That's tough to do. That's tough to click in 100% Matt Murray, but you got to take some risks. Looks like it worked out for you. So congrats to you. And, we talk about like, winning screenshots and all that stuff. And if you guys want a shout out, I do have the Awesemo Hall of Fame Twitter page up here, or if you tag us, if you want to share your screenshots, we'd love to retweet them on the Awesemo Hall of Fame account. So if you guys haven't checked that out, it's just at Awesemo HOF Hall of Fame. And so we've got a bunch of people that retweet. So if you want to share, feel free, whether it's a big win or a small win. We want to shout everybody out. So the ones that we can't get to on the show, you can just tag me, tag Cliffy, tag Josh, tag Terry, and we'll give you a little shout out on the Awesemo Hall of Fame account, or you can tag any of the other accounts if you want to tag Awesemo NHL or just Awesemo _ com. All right. Let's get into the first couple games here. We'll talk a little bit about Jock Market as always, but we'll wait till the audience is closer to the peak. And we'll start with Boston and Buffalo. 3.5 implied total for the Bruins, 2 for the Sabres. Tuukka Rask and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I think something along those lines. He's got 3 names. Well, actually 2 hyphenated. First name, very difficult to say last name. I didn't psych myself out about saying that name. I knew I was going to butcher it. So someone feel free to put in the correct pronunciation in the YouTube chat if you'd like. Boston won. Going to be decently popular. Not that popular, though. This is one of those slates where if you look at the top stacks tool and you like Boston at all, you're going to really like him and try to jam him in. However, there's a finite number of lines you can fit in. I'm not worrying too much about Boston 1's ownership tonight because I think I'm going to do a lot of 3-2-1s. I'm going to have some where I leave off Marchand. I'm going to have some where I leave off Bergeron, get some 2-man exposure that way. Maybe like Bergeron, Pastrnak, Grzelcyk. I know a lot of people leave off Marchand. So maybe I'll have some too with Bergeron and Marchand and leave off Pastrnak because pretty much no one does that when you play Boston. And then you hope for the shorthanded goal connection. It seems like they get one of those every couple weeks between Bergeron and Marchand. So I think, play Boston 1 if you like Boston 1. I'm not going to come on here and talk anybody off of them going into Buffalo. But I really like Boston 2 a lot. And 2 nights ago, they were pretty low owned. I think they were like 3 to 5% as a full stack. You're not getting them at that low of ownership tonight, but I'm seeing below 10% right now for Boston 2. They had 18 shot attempts the other night at 5-on-5. I think they're probably going to see similar matchups, and Buffalo just can't really hold them. So you got 3 playable lines here on the Boston side. Like I said, I think my most exposed Boston line is going to be Boston 2, followed closely by Boston 1, and I will have some Boston 3 mixed in there as well. Like I like Nick Ritchie, maybe not as much when he's playing with Coyle, but I was liking him a lot when he was like before Boston got Hall. Now that Hall's there, that's obviously going to be an upgrade. You get them fully correlated on the second unit. Not that the second unit matters that much when you play Boston, but if you wanted to go Boston 2 plus McAvoy, you could play some 2-man Boston 3s. There's a bunch of options over there. MLB, please. No time for NHL. We've got a ton of MLB stuff. Just for today, let me see what we got for the schedule for today because it's tough for me to keep track. We had an MLB strategy show earlier today with Terry and Pete, and then we had MLB Live Before Lock. We have MLB Live Before Lock coming up at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And then, you'll get your NBA, you'll get all that good stuff. All right. I mean, this guy, he might get a little timeout here. We'll put him on timeout, see what happens. It's your world and we're just living in it. Yeah, I guess so. back to the game. I'm going to be playing a little bit of Buffalo too, because Tage Thompson's been shooting a lot. As weird as it is to say, like playing some Tage Thompson and Casey Middlestat 2-man stacks. It's not really a matchup thing. It's just a price thing. They allow you to get to more studs, and I will be playing a little bit of them. But Reinhart was a guy that people were talking about a couple nights ago. I know Buffalo 1's cheap, but you're getting them at similar ownership as like Boston 2. I'd much rather have Boston 2 than Buffalo 1. So sure, if you want to go Reinhart 1-off or something like that, 5,300 is a fine price, but 2 implied total. I'm not looking to stack up too much on the Buffalo side, even playing like, I think I have 82 lineups on DK tonight. Dahlin 1-off. I am in on that. So if Seth's watching the show, he's going to be very pumped to hear that. 3,800 for Dahlin. Shooting a decent amount, playing top power play. Even though I don't like Buffalo that much tonight, I will be playing a bunch of him. If you want to go to, I mentioned Grzelcyk. He's more of a correlation play. McAvoy correlates with my Boston 2. And then Mike Riley at 3,500, I think, is still playable, even though he's not getting power play time. All right, let's go to the next game, because we're going to try to keep these solo streams pretty short. Otherwise, I tend to ramble a little bit. Philadelphia and the New York Rangers, 2.9 implied total for the Flyers, 3.6 for the Rangers. Alex Lyon, and I've got Georgiev. Ryan says, "What's up?" He says, "Hello, all." And Nolan says, "Sup, Ryan?" Yeah, Dunder Mifflin enthusiast. Yeah, wear the shirt on the stream every once in a while. So people know I'm an Office fan. Philadelphia won. Cliffy talked about it a little bit on the stream yesterday. Like Couturier is, I think he's back to pretty much being healthy. So not that I was knocking him down, but in my head, I was knocking down Philadelphia 1 whenever I'd be getting some of them recently. But it sounds like he's pretty healthy. Not really a line you want to target against. I don't know how the matchups are going to go here for the Rangers. These two teams played last night. Rangers lost, so maybe they switch things up. But the Strome line saw a bunch of time against Couturier, Giroux, and Voracek. And obviously don't really like that for Rangers too. It is a big total though. So the Rangers are fine. I don't think they're going to be one of my higher exposed teams though. Looking at Rangers too, like if they're going to go into the teeth of Couturier with whoever, Couturier, Giroux, and Voracek they've got right now, that's not really a matchup that I'd want as one of the higher owned stacks on the night. So probably going to be underweight on Rangers too. I think the power play is probably your best bet here. Philadelphia, pretty brutal kill. And I just don't really love the Rangers 5-on-5 lines. Like I said, if the Strome line is going to go into Couturier. So I think for full stacks in this game, I'm probably mostly out. I'll have some 2-man Strome Panarin. Even though I don't love them, I'll have some 2-mans of them. I don't think Strome is going to be that popular at 6,300. If you want to go Zibanejad, Buchnevich, 6,400, you leave off the cheap Lafreniere. I don't really mind that. Rangers 1 got a fair bit of Philly 3 last night. Yeah, I think if I was going to a full Rangers stack, it would probably be Rangers 1, Cliffy. So, yeah, with that matchup especially, that looks pretty good to me. But Zibanejad's going to be popular, and Buchnevich is going to be popular in Zibanejad lineups, I would assume. Other than that, in this game, like if you wanted to go JVR, Konechny, 2-man with Philly 3, that's fine. 2 guys that can score. But like Wade Allison on the second line here for the Flyers, not really in love with. Not in love with Hayes and Farabee. So I think this isn't really going to be a game that I'm super heavy on. Besides, like if you wanted to go Panarin 1-off, if you want to go Zibanejad 1-off, if you wanted to go Rangers power play, I get it, especially for the high implied total. They're a little bit expensive if you try to full power play stack them, but I think I'm going to have some lineups with that because that it doesn't seem like a great 5-on-5 matchup, even though the implied total is, it's huge. It's the biggest on the slate. Let's see. Yeah, it is the biggest on the slate, actually, by a pretty good margin. So Rangers power play 1 is fine. But for full stacks, I think I'm definitely going to be under the field. And I think that's pretty much all I've got for this game. Besides, I like Sanheim for 3,200 as a one-off guy. Adam Fox going to be your best bet on the Rangers, but he's 6,700. So I don't know if people are willing to pay that price for him. I am definitely willing to pay that price for him in correlated lineups. I'm fine with him as a one-off. We're showing him with a lot of ownership. I think that's probably going to come down by the time we get to the slate. Talbot safe as goalie tonight. I don't know. I wouldn't be so sure on that. We'll get to Talbot in a minute, but yeah, I think I'm a little bit different in that game from most people. We'll see. We haven't seen lines. I'll say that from the Minnesota game. There's 2 late games. I haven't seen any line combinations from practice today. So if you guys have seen those, feel free to drop those in if I'm discussing the incorrect lines. Yeah. Silverberg out 4 to 6 weeks. That is not good to hear. I also saw Larkin's out for the season. That stinks for a Detroit team that was already having a rough season. So, yeah, hopefully he can get healthy. They can get him some decent wingers. Maybe him and Vrana can play next year. I don't know Vrana's contract status, but I'm assuming he's still got a year or 2. Otherwise, why would Detroit trade for him? But GMs do weird stuff all the time. All right, let's do it too. Let's move to the next game here. Nashville and Chicago, 2.9 implied total for the Preds, 2.6 for the Hawks. It's going to be UC Saros, potentially. I saw Malcolm Subban expected to start for the Hawks. And that is pretty much the end of what we know about the Blackhawks lines, because I shared a screenshot today going through the I like to go through all the game reports on Natural Stat Trick each night and just see, like, all right, who Minnesota lines coach's statement. All right, I'm assuming there's another message coming after that. But yeah, let me know on the Minnesota lines or any of these lines, because I didn't see them. I looked for a few minutes before the show to see if we got any updates, because I was away from my computer for a little while before this. But yeah, if you got any, let me know. Blackhawks, I shared the screenshot of Natural Stat Trick. I don't think any 3-man combo had more than 2.5 minutes played in their last game against Nashville. They won the game. I doubt they're really going to switch things up. And basically, it's just Kane. Kane plays with everyone. DeBrincat and Doc usually play together. Those guys are all on the top power play. You got Kubalik on this third line, but I just have no idea how to stack Chicago besides just playing their good players, their good goal scorers. But then you have the other night, and Hagel gets the game-winning goal, and he's in a lot of winning lineups. He was like 2,500. So while the even strength lines look good here, I don't really feel comfortable full stacking any Chicago line. But I do want exposure to Kane, and so that's what makes it a little bit difficult for me here. So on my sheet here, I go through all the games, and I just wrote Chicago lines with a big question mark, because I know I want to play some. I know I want to play some Chicago, but it's mostly just going to come through Kane. So like I said the other night, Doc, DeBrincat, Kane, sure. You get 3 guys on the top power play. At worst, you get them on the power play. If you wanted to go Doc, DeBrincat, and Kubalik, great. That sounds good to me. But I just don't feel strongly about any stack. I do feel pretty strongly that I want a lot of Kane one-offs or him in 3-mans. So if you guys have any ideas on the line combinations, like if you think Kurashev and Strome are going to stay together, they're probably going to take some shifts with Kane, because everybody takes some shifts with Kane. So I would just not really pay too much attention to the 5-on-5 lines for Chicago, or at least limit the amount of times that you're full stacking, like Suter, Hinostroza, and Kane like this. Because while it's cheap, it's like, oh yeah, cheap exposure to Patrick Kane. Well, yeah, but you still need them to score goals. And the best way to get a bunch of points at once is to get 5-on-5 goals. So, because you want to get at least an assist or two. But there's no real correlation you can feel great about outside of the power play for Chicago. So, yes, I like them. I like Kane. I like Doc. I like DeBrincat. But it's going to be a lot of two-mans for me on the Blackhawks tonight. And then Nashville kept their lines together the entire game last time out. So, I feel comfortable full stacking them. I have an interest in all three of their lines, Haula, Duchesne, and Cousins even. I like the Haula, Duchesne two-man a little bit. That's really cheap, 6,400. In fact, I haven't taken a peek at their ownership just yet. I wonder if they're popular. Yeah, they're pretty popular. 6-7% for a third line. That's tough. Nashville 2 coming up quite a bit more popular than I would like. I've missed out on a lot of Nashville 2 games because they get pushed down my rankings because of their ownership. But I like full stacking Nashville. These Nashville lines, whether you want to go Johansson, Tolvanen, and Arvidsson, whether you want to go Yarncroc, Granlund, Cunnin, or Haula, Cousins, and Duchesne. I think all of those are fine to full stack. I would say I probably come in a little underweight on the Granlund line. I probably come in overweight on Johansson, Tolvanen, and Arvidsson. Is this correct? Arvidsson's not on the power play? That can't be right. I don't know. All right, let's move it on to defenseman in this game. Yossi, 7K. I'm going to have a bunch of Yossi tonight, especially doing 3-2-1s. He's going to fit in very nicely with either Nashville 1 or Nashville 2, or as a one-off. He's my guy tonight. I think he's going to be my highest owned defenseman by quite a bit. We're showing, almost 30% ownership, closer to 30% than 20% on Roman Yossi on DK. So if you can stomach that, by all means, get you some Yossi. I can stomach that. Ellis or Ekholm, both good one-off pivot options. Not that it's really a pivot because they're like 2,200 and 2,900 away from Yossi. So it's not really an either-or thing. But both guys that have some negative correlation with Yossi if you're worried about his popularity tonight. Defenseman on the Hawks. Boquist, I'm seeing on the top power play on our lineup builder. That doesn't really do much for me. You would just be a correlation with your Kane, Doc, DeBrincat lineups or Kubalik. Other than that, I want to play some Connor Murphy, but he's about 1,000 too much. So I think I'm good there. Zadorov, Stillman, I don't know. I think I can just find some better punt defensemen tonight. Before we move it on to the next game, we got to talk about JockMKT. If you guys can see in the upper right-hand corner here, we are sponsored by JockMKT. They've turned fantasy sports into a stock exchange. They allow you to buy and sell shares of players for real money with guaranteed payouts at the end of each night. So like you're familiar with on the other DFS sites, but it's more of a stock market style where you can buy, sell, or hold during the game based on your own analysis. And if you want to sign up, I don't know why you wouldn't take advantage of this offer, but you can get a $20 deposit bonus with the promo code Awesemo NHL20. That is Awesemo NHL20, and that's a $20 bonus on your first deposit. It's exclusive to only the people watching this show. And you're going to be the only ones that really have access to this. So use the pregame IPO, pick up shares of your favorite players. Again, you can buy, sell, and hold them. And don't forget to use that promo code. So if you go to the App Store on your phone and download JockMKT, that's JockMKT. You can download that app and get started. Make sure you use that promo code when you sign up. It helps us, it helps you out. It's a free $20 to get started. And I think you'll like the gameplay over there. All right, let's go to Montreal And Calgary, we've got a 2.7 implied total for the Canadiens, 2.8 for the Flames. Jake Allen and Jacob Markstrom are your expected goalies. We've got the Flames pretty popular here, at least this top line, fully correlated Lindholm, Gaudreau, and Tkachuk. I've been a noted Flames hater for pretty much the entire season, especially Gaudreau. Like when Monahan and Gaudreau were together, they played with Richie some, they played with Joakim Nordstrom. I think they played with Dylan Dubé at times. They played with Levo. I know that. It's just they just haven't done a whole lot. So, yeah, I mean, Calgary won. They're fully correlated on top power play. Montreal's a tough team at 5-on-5. Whether they go up against the Suzuki line, whether they go up against the Danault line, it's not really a great spot at 5-on-5. I don't feel like, you really play Calgary that much for the power play anyways. So I like the Montreal side here if I'm going to anything. Suzuki, Toffoli, Armia, I can't look at them at 2 and 3% ownership on a 5-game slate and not be interested there. So I think that's my favorite Montreal line. But I also like Danault, Tatar, and Anderson. I know Montreal has issues scoring goals, and you need goals here. But hopefully variance can go my way against a team where I think they have the advantage against pretty much every line besides Lindholm, Gaudreau, and Tkachuk. And one of those two lines is not going to face off against them for the duration of the game. And I don't know who it's going to be. I would imagine Suzuki, Toffoli gets the Lindholm, Tkachuk, Gaudreau line, but that's pretty much purely a guess. So I'll be hedging with both of the top two Montreal lines. I think I'm going to come in underweight, definitely on Gaudreau. This is one thing, like when a player's role changes, like how do you adjust his rates? Like what would his assist rate be? And, what are his new shot rates playing on a much better line? So that's something I struggle with. Even trying to boost Gaudreau, I still don't think I'm going to get that much of him. So maybe some Lindholm, Tkachuk, leave off Gaudreau. Certainly could get burned there on a full, like a line that's played together a bunch and is fully correlated on the power play. But I think I'll have some two-mans of Calgary one. I don't think I'm going to be above the field on them as a whole. And then the rest of the lineup is pretty brutal. Monahan with Mangiapane. At least there's no Dubé on that line, but you got Brett Ritchie and Monahan and Mangiapane are both on the second power play unit. So it's tough for me to get to a lot of Flames. Again, one of those lines is going to get like Montreal's pretty like strong lines throughout the lineup. So not really a team I want to pick on for 5-on-5 matchups. I'd much rather play some Montreal here at like you're getting Montreal 2 at a fifth of the ownership of Calgary 1. That's pretty easy for me in terms of overweight, underweight. But yeah, that's really all I've got for this game. I think for forwards, at least Weber, Petrie, I'll play those guys as correlation plays, but the power play 2, the Petrie unit is all spread out. So there's really not a whole lot of correlation. I guess we should probably mention line 4 for Montreal just because there are some names there, Drouin, Stahl, Perry. That's probably not really a fourth line like we've talked about with Minnesota recently. Bonino, Parisi, and Sturm, which we'll talk about next. But yeah, if you wanted to go to this quote unquote fourth line for Montreal, I wouldn't really have a problem with that. Stahl, Drouin, 2-man. They'll probably get 12, 13 minutes. They're not like a true fourth line. Sutter is going to put a stamp on the team. Calgary's going to be blown up if they don't make the playoffs. Is Calgary even contending for a playoff spot? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't know. Let me pull up the standings over here. So they are top 4 make it. No, they're not going to make it. Yeah, Montreal's going to make it. Right? They're 8 points back with a game in hand. I guess Calgary they would need to win here unless they have a bunch of games against Montreal. They can make up, they can make up 4 to 6 points. But they've played Montreal a bunch, I think, recently. So they can't have too many games remaining against them. Anyways, Calgary's not a good team, at least in my opinion. I think Montreal could be a good team. And they do have 2 good lines at the very least. So I'm in on them. Lower implied total. I don't really care. Let's go to the last game of the night. Actually, before we get to this last game, we do have to mention we do have UFC 261 still going on. Tomorrow is the last day. So if you guys, whether you're watching Usman and Masvidal, it's going to be a really good fight. I'm pretty excited to watch it. I'm not really an MMA fan. I think I missed most of the fight, or I caught some of the highlights the last time these 2 guys fought a few months ago. But if you want to get in on the DFS side, we've got a really good deal going on for an Awesemo Plus MMA monthly pass. You get 50% off your first month of Awesemo Plus MMA when you use the promo code of the fight. It's UFC 261, no spaces, $14.95. You get 30 days of Awesemo Plus MMA for half the price. After that, if you don't like it, you can always cancel, but I think you guys will like it. You can stick around in Slack with that code as well. You get the Top Fighters tool, which is my favorite tool for MMA ownership projections, the Top Fighter, the fighter projections, the lineup builder. Again, premium Slack is about as good as you can ask for. So you can sweat the fight with some people online, make some new friends. Yeah, must win tonight for Calgary, right? I don't know. What do we got? Like 7-8 games for a lot of these teams remaining. Actually, it's closer to 10. 45 games for the Flames. They're playing 56, right? All right, let's move it on to the last game of the night, Minnesota and LA. Again, we don't know the lines just yet. We don't have confirmation. Maybe we do. Let me scroll up in chat. Oh, yeah, I should also mention on that last game. That's a really good point. Brian mentioned earlier in chat, and I missed it. Calgary had a positive COVID test today. So that game potentially may not play. But what most of the teams have been doing is if there's one positive and there's no more positives after they retest everyone that same day, they usually just go on with the game. So as of now, it looks like the game is on. It is a late start. There's one game after it if it does get canceled. So you will have some swapping options, but obviously very, very limited. Okay. Minnesota, LA. 3 implied total for the Wild, 2.4 for the Kings. We've got Cam Talbot and Cal Peterson as your very projected goalies. We never really know on the Kings side. I think they've been pricing Quick and Cal Peterson the same. Minnesota Beats are saying no changes. Wonderful. Yeah, I figured they probably wouldn't have too many changes. They've been sticking with the same lineup the last few games. They've been winning. Why change things up? Well, I'll tell you why you should change things up if you're the Wild. They have 2 lines that have just been pretty poor defensively. So let me see if I've got these numbers pulled up. To go to Rask, Kaprizov, and I got to spell his name right. Rask, Kaprizov, and Zuccarello. Man, they've just fallen off a cliff in terms of generating chances at 5-on-5, and they're still giving up a lot, like above average. And so I think that's a line that can be had. Obviously, you don't want to mess with Eriksson, Greenway, and Foligno. So I think you're playing with a little bit of fire if you go all in on LA1, because you could get to this game, you could have some nice lineups going, and then they match Kopitar against Eriksson, Greenway, and Foligno. So that's definitely a risk that you've got to take, because that's arguably the worst matchup in the NHL against this Minnesota 2 line. Now, if they match the young rookie stud Kaprizov, Rask, Zuccarello, I think Kings 1 is going to run them over. I like that they priced up Kings 1 a little bit. It's going to keep their ownership in check. We're showing under 10%. I'm usually not a big Kings 1 guy, but I think on a smaller slate where I feel like they're going to match the Kaprizov, Rask, Zuccarello line, or you might even get very lucky and they go up against Fiala, Hartman, and I don't say Ryan Johansson, Marcus Johansson. Let me see their numbers. Yeah, below average at 5-on-5. Don't really generate much at 5-on-5 either. So one of these lines, I'm assuming, is going to get Kopitar. That stinks for the Minnesota side. That's very good for LA1. So I've got LA1 circled on my little post-it note here. I'm willing to take the risk that they match against Minnesota 2 and look like a complete idiot. It will not be. It's not the first time, and it certainly won't be the last time if that's the case. Velarde, Kempe, Moore. I think that's an okay line to stack as well. And then I also like Lizotte with Athanasiou and Grundstrom a little bit because Kings would be really dumb to put them up against Greenway, Zuccarello, and Eriksson on purpose. So I'm assuming they're going to get Minnesota 3 and Minnesota 4, the Lizotte line. So got interest in all three of the Kings lines. Minnesota, not very popular. So if you want to go there, that's fine. Fiala's probably my favorite one-off. That's not, Pastrnak or Kane tonight. Maybe Panarin I would put over Fiala just because he's so elite on the power play. But he's up there as one of my favorite one-off guys. Like I said, I don't really love the line that he's playing on, but a guy that can create his own offense and sometimes doesn't get his teammates involved. It's not like Hartman and Marcus Johansson are great offensive players. So I'll be having some Fiala one-offs. If you want to go Kaprizov, Zuccarello, if you don't think they're going to get Kopitar, that's perfectly fine as well. I wonder if their 5-on-5 Corsi numbers are not great because just because I don't know, this is like a weird thing that I thought of, but like because Kaprizov's always setting them up in very good spots, like their actual Corsi 4 numbers are a little bit low, and maybe their scoring chance numbers are higher than it would suggest, just because he's such a good distributor. I don't know. That's just a thing that I thought of, but it probably doesn't really check out because the expected goals would be a little they would be high, right? And the expected goals for Kaprizov, Rask, Zuccarello are not high. So what's the best NHL GPP to make the most money fast? You could always get lucky and bink something, like play a high stakes and win 10K, play 333 and win 10K. But I would say the best, if you're looking to make money, you play the lowest stakes possible and you play as many lineups as possible. And you just try to grind out a profit that way. You diversify your lineups. We have an article on the site called the Diversification Primer. If you want to check that out, or you can just Google it and just say Awesemo Diversification Primer. That's a really good article to read, one that I've read over and over to try to help my game out. It's good for NHL or MLB if you want to check those out. I've also got NHL articles up on the site. If you want to read those and just looking to get into some NHL DFS, it is a great sport to sweat, very tilting sport to sweat. But back to this, just to close out this game, I think I'm pretty heavy on LA tonight. I'm not understanding the love for Minnesota here. I'll probably be proven wrong. Talbot's been playing great, but he's getting peppered with shots. I think at some point he's probably gonna have a bad game. Maybe it's tonight against the lowly Kings. It's 2.4 total. But I'm hammering the Kings tonight. I just don't like the look of these Minnesota lines, and they just haven't played very well, but they've been winning games. So I doubt they're going to switch anything up. It's getting painful watching Rask. Bukestad is cleared to play, yet we keep Rask in. It sounds like a Minnesota Wild fan. I'm not a Minnesota Wild fan, but I do watch a ton of their games. So, that's the thing. Like, they keep winning, and they're not going to change anything up. Kaprizov's playing great. Zuccarello's playing great in terms of just like the counting stats this season. So some of these coaches, like, just because something's working doesn't mean it can't be working even better, right? Not that Bukestad would make it work better, but if you put Minnesota, like if you go Eriksson with Zuccarello, Kaprizov, maybe, but then you break up that great shutdown line. So yeah, I don't know. it's a difficult situation for these coaches. Okay, defenseman here. Dumba's price coming up a little bit, 4,600. Still like him. Doughty will just be likely in Kings 1 lineups for me. If you want to go to some Sean Walker at 4,400, sure, he correlates to the second line, but he's 4,400 and probably not going to play a ton of minutes tonight. So it's pretty much just your normal guys on both of these sides. Like I said, Doughty if you're correlating. Dumba, probably my favorite defenseman for the Wild. Suter, but he's 3,400, probably going to play 20 plus minutes. And Spurgeon, I think, is my favorite after Dumba. Not a Brody night. He's 4,500. Being evicted from my home and need to make at least 3K. Is NHL the way to go? Yeah, just fire that, whatever you got into NHL GPP. That's what you got to do. There's probably some better ways to get 3K than gambling or skill gaming. Some call it skill gaming. Minnesota's better than LA. Yeah, Minnesota's definitely better than LA. But that doesn't mean they're going to be better than them tonight. So hoping I'm right on the Kings. Maybe it won't even matter. Maybe Boston will break the slate before we even get to this. Goalie thoughts for tonight. Yeah. Let me see what I got. Because I think I do have a lot of Talbot one-offs. I think Talbot's a perfectly fine play, even understanding that I'm going to have a lot of Kings. Malcolm Subban. I like him. Subban is 7,500, reasonably priced, low implied total against, reasonable chance at a win. Man, I don't know. Do I have the stones to go with Alex Lyon or Pekka Luukkonen? I have no clue. I do have a clue. Like I will be playing. I think I'll have exposure to every single goalie tonight. There's 10 of them to choose from. I think I've got on my most recent run. Let's see. Did I have everyone? I believe I did have. No, I didn't have any Lion. So there you go. Hattie pick for tonight. I've got Kopitar as my Hattie pick for tonight. Kind of a tough slate. So gonna do some more work. Check out some stuff in chat. If you guys want to join, feel free to hit me up. If you got any questions on memberships or anything like that. We've got a bunch of shows coming up after this. Shout out to JockMKT for sponsoring. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Go check them out. Use promo code Awesemo NHL20 to get $20 of a free deposit bonus when you sign up. Might as well. It's free money they're giving away. All right. Good luck, everybody. Cliffy, actually, it'll be myself and probably just myself on Monday, assuming you've got a pretty good slate. Good luck until then.